Hello everyone, Santir here with more Astral Collision and Religion for Games crossover thingy-mabob. And I have just spent a while reading through all of the notes that we have made over the past 4 parts, I want to say. This will probably be the last one. We'll see how things develop. But what my goal is at this point, if you want to see all these come together, of course you can go watch the previous parts, but it has not been a particularly popular series up to this point, so anyway, I doubt many people have watched it. So anyway, what I've done up to this point is I've kind of established, what some of the motivations, what the motivations of the worlds are, and sort of the general base outline of the various worlds, because there's 14 worlds that are a part of this. I've kind of established what the state of their religion is, the state of their society to an extent, what role the prophet from the place played in that place, and also some about what enemies you'll encounter, and I've established why they did the Astral Collision. So, we have narratively, in the lore of the game, we have the Astral Collision that happens. So, we first have the Astral Division. You know what? Let's back all the way up. The world is created. There are 4 types of beings that are made. Each one, just as a reminder of what's going on, right? And it's a bit of a refresher for myself so I don't get caught up in all the details that I've just been reading through. So we have these 4 races, humans that are made to sort of exemplify family, or to be about family. That's kind of their virtue of expertise. The Felicor, which their expertise is knowledge. The Adar, they have the expertise of friendship. And the Rifa, the expertise of purity, or virtue of whatever. And so these 4 races were created, and they were supposed to teach each other, to be in community with each other, and those sorts of things. But what ended up happening is the children of the first pair of humans split off into 9 separate tribes, each with their own pursuits. The Felicor got caught up in popularity contest with their groups. I ignore these reproduction rates. They're probably bogus. I was just trying to process why the numbers were different. And so they became an in-group and an out-group. The Yadar the Yadar are the ones that made the in-group and the out-group. The Felicor some were curious about the natural world, others were curious about the supernatural world. They kind of split their interests, and basically all these groups kind of self-segregated, and they didn't interact with each other. And the Rifa, instead of trying to repair things, went off in a huff and went into their own little corner, say, let's leave these losers alone. And the creator's like, okay, y'all are screwing up here. You're supposed to love each other, be in community, be in friendship, be in relationship, learn from each other, and you ain't doing it. So let's kind of split everybody up here. You want to be split up? Okay, you'll be split up. And makes 14 different worlds, one for each of these different sort of groups. So that's where our 14 worlds come from. They all have different things that come out of that, different reasons why things happen, and the Astral Collision occurs. And so one of the Yadar groups happens to be one, the out group, as it were, were basically the last group that was really focused on the creator in a strong sense. Oh, this is a loud song. Let me turn that one down a little bit. And so they had that sort of emphasis. So I've begun working over here in the spreadsheet actually on some story beats. If you're curious about how all that's going to play out, you're going to need to watch the video. That'll be coming out tomorrow. So anyway, we have established, okay, what are the states, what are the foundations of how these worlds came to be where they are, where do they end up before the Astral Collision occurred. And now the Astral Collision has happened. What is the immediate aftermath of the Astral Collision occurring? So there are a couple of things that I need to immediately address. The first of all, this event is extremely violent. It is an incredibly violent event. So probably earthquakes ravage the borders of the world. I spelt borders incorrectly. There's less A in that type of border. Let's see. Francis perishes in one of these earthquakes, which also led to the shattered wall. Okay, so when I say shattered wall, I'm talking about over here. This right here. So I think something with this is probably where Francis perished is my supposition. Okay, so that's immediately what happens once everyone recovers well enough from that. The following, that's not how you spell occur, Santier, occur relatively simultaneously. Okay, Avina begins an invasion of Divertier. And honestly, that's probably the first immediate thing that happens. The prophets get incarnated in Kendra. So there's a reason why they end up there. This is the least dangerous place. They need time to adjust. Okay, so let's kind of look at the map. There's a couple of other things that are going on here. A lot of people are disoriented. Frankly, I think a ton of people are disoriented. The people of Elsana are wondering where the green lands are. Remember, they did the Astral Collision to find green lands. Plentiful croplands and stuff, and they're like, where is everything? Because they're in the middle of the ocean. They are isolated in some deep water. These folks right here are going to need to... they're going to be preparing for some stuff. They're not going to get hit. Yeah, okay, so they probably have an invasion of monsters. I'll get to more disoriented in a moment. Monsters try to invade from... let's grammar correctly. Try to invade... I'm blanking on the name of it, which is why I have stuff over here on the side. Haha. Valsaw from Sacriton, but get repelled barely. Let's see. Let's see, where is the name? Kushigai. Let's just go ahead and prefix the people of Kushigai are trying to recover from the massive damage they've received during the Astral Collision. The tribes of... where is it? Yorgot Est are reorienting themselves regarding the new eruptions. Also, monsters of their territories are, let's just say, going berserk. So, doesn't... is that not... yeah, berserk. I don't know what I spelt. I don't know why it didn't get a right to underline. One of the things that I've decided is that, I don't know how relevant this is to all y'all, but there's an enemy in here called Behemoth. This guy, these guys are going to be really high-level enemies inside the desert that are kind of known for wrecking larger establishments. So there's some strong defenses right here to stop those things from coming through. And everybody else is like, yeah, we camp out here, but when we see those things coming on the horizon, we book it because they're going to be real dangerous. Let's see. Monsters of Sacriton also aggressively attack the people of Sacriton. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Right in this area. Like, I don't think that they're terribly successful, though. They're not terribly successful. Yes, and this is also important. The people of Sindire are in code red, what is happening mode. Imagine you're watching an episode of Star Trek, and for some reason the ship just suddenly shakes, and everybody's like, code red, what happened, what's going on, and they're trying to assess what's happened because they don't know what just occurred. Some crazy thing just happened. That's kind of what's going on with Sindire, because they're like, we are scientists. That's kind of who they are, right? That's their cultural personality, or their cultural identity is we're scientists, and they are getting absolutely wrecked by a massive earthquake that's shaking everything up and completely reorienting all sorts of stuff. They're trying to figure out what's going on. So this is like immediately after it occurs. So the players get placed in sort of during this. Envoys from Kendra leave to propose setting up Adventurers Guild outposts in various other cities. Notably, Sacriton. Okay, this is where the map becomes really useful. Okay, so they probably go from here. They probably also go... yeah, they come down here to Sacriton. That's quite a long trip. This is going to take a while. But they're going to get there before the players do. Because the players are going to be a lot more caught up in stuff up here initially. They're also going to go to Evanshire, but probably get rebuffed. Evanshire is probably going to enter into a civil war, honestly. So this makes sense to me that Evanshire starts a civil war, because remember, like, the reason why the Astral Collision happened in part because a group from every single place worked together to make it happen, and from Evanshire, it's the exiled people who live up here who instigated the Astral Collision from Evanshire's point of view. So now these people are probably in a civil war with these guys. Get rebuffed by main group, but find support with the exiles. What do you want this to be? Sure, whatever. Sacriton, where they're warmly welcomed. Remember, monster problems. And I'm sure that there's been some attacks. But they are somewhat protected. Let's see. Yeah. Mavina is also going to send troops north. And let's see, probably up here and over this way. And they're probably going to send people over this way. Okay, so they send people also over to scanning through Galden, where they're met with bewilderment. And caution. Let's see here. I'm just scanning through stuff. Halsa, where they're met with suspicion, but not hostility. Hostility. As I figure out how to spell the word. I always try to spell words right if I can, and I don't always succeed. Okay, let's see. So Evanshire, this is Mountain Route. They probably are like, what? And just pass by Mountain Route. They go here. There, let's see. They go up that way. They go... Basically, they're going to most places, but they don't go to Alsana because Alsana is a little bit far away. So... Kyle-Disha, where they are able to set up shop, but are somewhat isolated. They're treated as like, you can come here and join us, but you don't really belong here. And the last one, because they're not getting over here. They're going here, here. Okay, so they what's Talman's again? Mivina, where they're slaughtered. Remember, Mivina is super aggressive right now. So let's see. They're going to start the invasion of Divertir, and they're probably... Mivina and... Honestly, so they probably go over here, and then they're going to go head up north and south, but that's probably going to be a little bit later. So I think they're going to start by going to Divertir. This is the initial state when the player begins, more or less. So this gets me kind of an initial starting place. And so the world is fractured, and now it's come together. Everything's disoriented, and this gives me sort of, what is my initial starting position? How does everything come together? Honestly, at this point, I think this probably covers a lot of what this is about. This is, to some extent, about setup. It's about how all of these things kind of fit together. And so we've got a bunch of disorientation, a bunch of stuff that happens. A lot of the rest of this is then, how do things progress in a way with how the player's going to interact with stuff. So at this point, I've done most of the backstory and gotten that all set up, which is what the series was about. And the rest of this is going to be messy world building for an active world where the player is engaged with things. So just to give you a heads up of the steps that I'm going to be taking, and you'll be able to see overviews of these and summaries of these in the main Let's Make a Game series, which airs on Sundays. I need to figure out what order do I expect the player to go through the world in. Where is the player going to visit first? Where are they going to visit second? How is the story going to unfold? As the player moves through sort of the main plot points, what's the next steps that are going to happen? So just to give you a little bit of a preview of some of the stuff that I'm thinking about, I think the player's probably going to start up here in this city. They're going to make their way down here. They're going to need to find a boat. I imagine that that's probably going to occur like somewhere over here-ish or something. But they're going to need to go down here. This is their first goal, is to get over to here. And when they get down here, they need to protect them from the Mivina invasion, and then take their boat up here and fight off Mavinna invaders here. The Mavinna invaders are pushing up this way, and they have like some people that are trying to resist, but these guys are not prepared for war. They were looking to have entertainment, so they're going to need to stop stuff here. And the players are discouraged from going into this area because it's going to be much more dangerous. I expect this to be an area visited much later. And that's kind of what I've figured out so far of the things that are going to happen. But this gives you a general gist of the direction that I'm looking to go with things. And we're going to see a lot of different clashes happen, a lot of different stuff happen with some of the culture and society and all that stuff. So, yeah. Until next time in the next video in the main Let's Make a Game series, take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been informative or instructive. If you have any questions about any of this sort of stuff, leave them in the comments. I would be thrilled to be able to come back later and make some sort of follow-up video answering any common questions as well, if that's something that develops. So anyway, some other important stuff before I fully wrap up. One of the important things that you're going to get is able to get copies of Teachings of Hannah from this group here that you're going to be able to distribute to other places, and that's going to be one of your side goals, is to take those with you in order to be able to aid in your efforts to restore the state of society, as it were. So, all right. That's the end for realsies this time. So thank you for watching. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.